Did you know that the Park Ball has the same catch rate as the Master Ball, or that the Moon Ball was literally completely useless? The Typing Ball! What the heck is a Typing Ball? And now we got balls on wheels that track down Pokemon! Hey, you! I don't like your balls. I think you need a new one. So you might think you know Pokeballs. I mean, aside from Pikachu itself, Pokeballs are the symbol or icon of the franchise. But of course, in universe, Pokeballs are kinda lame and common sauce. They are the basic ball. They are not great. That's the Great Ball, a straight up upgrade to the Pokeball with the power of 1.5 Pokeballs. If you don't understand what math means, they multiply the catch rate 1.5 times, so a 50% increase, which isn't the same as 2 Pokeballs, which don't multiply it at all, but still, they are better. So with these around, why keep Pokeballs? I guess you could waste less money by keeping those around for the lesser early route Pokemon, or if you ever want a Shedinja, who you can only get if you have a spare Pokeball. Wait, was that... Yeah, I think that was a fun fact! When Nincada evolves into Ninjask, you can also get a Shedinja, but only if you have both an empty slot in your party and a Pokeball. Not a Great Ball, or any other ball. It has to be a basic Pokeball. Because Shedinja is pretty basic. I mean, it's just the hollowed out husk of an evolving Nincada, just like the shed exoskeletons of real cicadas. And have you ever seen the exoskeleton of a cicada in a Great Ball? No. I thought not. Great Balls are pretty good, but they are a step below the ultimate. The Ultra Ball doubles the catch rate, making it twice as likely to succeed. And in most situations, it is the ball of choice for experienced trainers. But there are dozens of more options, aren't there? Well, not in Gen 1, which also introduced the Safari Ball, which really were just Pokeballs given to you by the Safari Zones. They are only just as good as Pokeballs, which is to say, they aren't. But do you think the Safari Zones just pay a guy to sit in the back room and paint Pokeballs with camo to match the Safari aesthetic? I'm sure that after doing that thousands of times, they become a master at it, meaning they only mess up maybe 1 in every 65,000 balls. Just like the Master Ball, which multiplies the catch rate by 255 times, effectively meaning it will always catch the Pokemon. Except the math doesn't quite line up. There is a 0.001526% chance it will fail, or 1 in 65,536, according to an urban legend that has since been debunked. Technically, the math is right, and there is that chance of failure, but Game Freak was smart, and to get around that chance of failure, the ball is actually programmed to ignore the check altogether. Meaning, yes, it is guaranteed, which does beg all kinds of ethical questions that we won't get into, but we will get into the other Gen 1 Pokeballs that aren't even in the games. Most of the unique Pokeballs in the anime are just regular Pokeballs with some customizations, such as the starter Pokemon's Pokeballs having the names Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle stuck on them. Pikachu's even has a little lightning bolt. But have you ever noticed that the Pokeballs on the back of the American trading cards are different? The button is on the white part instead of the red. Oh, it's cursed. Back in the anime, there's a Meowth named Meowsy who has a custom diamond encrusted Pokeball. Bruno even has a custom green Pokeball for his Onix in the very first moments of the very first episode. And even in the manga, Bruno had to be extra and used Pokeball nunchucks, and Koga turned one of his into a shuriken. Clearly, just customizations on their end, though. But the Electric Tale of Pikachu manga gives many Pokeballs numbers on the buttons, and even introduces a sort of precursor to the Gigantamax balls, with the Enormo Pokeball X1, a giant Pokeball machine that was needed to catch a particularly spooky giant haunter. In the Pokemon spin-off game, Pokemon Snap, we get Pester Balls, which don't actually catch the Pokemon, it just kinda irritates them, so there is some debate as to whether they count or not. And in the first movie, we get a look at the first truly bizarre Pokeballs, Mewtwo Balls, aka Clone Balls. Truly spooky. These balls not only housed Mewtwo's cloned Pokemon, but could even catch Pokemon who already belonged to a trainer. The colors and the eye motif makes it look super alien, which I suppose is fitting, especially with how they move around. And perhaps this is what triggered a burst of inspiration. Pokeballs were very standard in Gen 1, and didn't see a lot of frills and extra mechanics until the following generation, which gave us such iconic Pokeball variants like the Friend Ball. Don't you want to catch yourself a new friend? While its catch rate is the same as a Pokeball, it convinces the caught Pokemon that you are, in fact, friendly, and sets their friendship value to 200 or 150 depending on the game. How does it do that? I'm a bit concerned. Is it just like straight up Stockholming the poor thing? The Love Ball is very impressive when used in a very specific situation. Let's say you have a female whooper you want to catch with a Love Ball. In order to get the Love Ball's effects, you have to send out a male whooper to fight it, and only then will the Love Ball get its 8 times bonus. Hey look, whooper, I got a mate for you. You want to join the team? Whooper! Yeah? Whooper! Yeah, you want to join the team? Woo! I'll take that as a yes. The lure ball works like a fishing lure. Notably, Pokeballs do kinda look like fishing bobs already, but these lure balls multiply the catch rate by 4 so long as you're fishing. Level balls multiply the catch rate between 1 and 8 times depending on how much higher leveled your Pokemon is compared to the mon you're catching. The GS ball is a mysterious event-based Pokeball made of gold and silver and houses Celebi, the Pokemon of the event. And the Moon Ball looks pretty, but is more so pretty worthless. It times 4s the catch rate if it's used on a Pokemon that evolves via a Moonstone. So, at the time, a whopping 4 Pokemon. Except, due to a programming error at the time, it's only as good as a regular Pokeball on them too. It is a completely useless Pokeball, even in more recent gens where it works on like 10 Pokemon now. Whoa! But speaking of programming errors, the Heavy Ball has a bug too. It's supposed to add or subtract from the catch rate based on how heavy the Pokemon is. The heavier, the better. Yeah, ow. Very funny. But because of a programming error in Pokemon Crystal, it only actually looks at the weight of Pokemon whose index numbers are divisible by 64. So only 3 Pokemon, Kadabra, Tauros, and Sunflora, who aren't even that heavy. These days, the Fastball multiplies the catch rate by 4 if the Pokemon's base speed stat is at least 100. But originally, it was made to work that well only on Pokemon who had the ability to flee, which would have been very helpful for Abra and the legendary beasts, but again, it's lame sauce and only cares about Magnemite, Grimer, and Tangela thanks to programming errors. The Sport Ball, aka the Competition Ball or the Park Ball, is really just another custom Pokeball. It has a Pokeball painted on it, which seems needless, but I guess that's how they denote that this is the Pokeball given to you for the bug catching contest. It has a much more unique look in the manga and anime at least, which is also where we find some more unique balls, like the Lake Ball or the Battle Park Balls, the customly evil Team Rocket Balls, these wicked-looking dark balls, this antique Pokeball, and this even more antique Pokeball featuring a twist top. There's even a solid crystal Pokeball created by the reality-bending Pokemon Unknown, perhaps making it the first and only Pokeball made by a Pokemon. And we see more gym leaders and such modifying their Pokeballs into weapons of sorts. Bugsy's got one on a net, Faulkner has helicopter boomerang balls, and Erica catches Pokemon with a bow and arrow style ball, which we would later see in Sun and Moon.
Oh hey, that reminds me, I love how the old anime just lets Pokeballs do whatever. Like, remember the time Ash tried to catch a Mankey, but instead caught a Ridge wallet from today's sponsor instead? It's a classic! The makers of the #1 wallets, Ridge, have made them even better now with MagSafe wallets that connect to the backs of MagSafe compatible smartphones without blocking their chargeability. Talk about convenient! You can even upgrade your existing Ridge wallets with simple plate swapping. But why are they #1? That's easy, because they aren't needlessly bulky like traditional wallets, and the RFID blocking material prevents scammers from sneakily scanning your butt for all your card information. Plus, they are built tough, hence their confidence with the lifetime warranty. And I love Ridge's key case accessory, keeping your keys in a convenient and secure holding device so they don't jingle about and stab your legs. They even make durable and smooth to write with pens for your EDC, and fashionably minimalist rings for your hand parts. Hats too! For some reason, it's not too late to get your dad a super dadly gift for Father's Day, so Ridge is offering up to 40% off because dads love nothing more than a great deal. Check them out at ridge.com/Lockstin, link in the description, and I promise you won't be disappointed. Unlike how I am with some Gen 3 balls. Like the Premier Ball. We're talking about Gen 3 now. The Premier Ball is really just an all-white Pokeball, and that's all there is to it. The Luxury Ball also doesn't help you catch any Pokemon, though it at least doubles how quickly their friendship with you grows. Equally useless is the Nest Ball, which does some complicated math, like 41 minus the Pokemon's level divided by 10 to the catch rate, but only if the Pokemon is between level 1 and 29, but at that point just use like any other ball. And the Dive Ball
it's of limited use. It multiplies the catch-attitude by 3.5 if you're currently diving underwater, which was a Gen 3 gimmick. So the very next gen, they changed it to just water-dwelling Pokemon in general, which is pretty redundant because Gen 3 also introduced the net ball, which is like both a bug-catching and fishing net. It works 3.5 times better if the Pokemon is bug or water type, so after Gen 3, it's just a dive ball with more versatility. The repeat ball is good for shiny hunters, as it does its 3.5 times multiplication if you already have the Pokemon in your dex. The repeat ball is good for shiny hunters, as it does its 3.5 times multiplication if you already have the Pokemon in your dex. The repeat ball is good for shiny hunters, as it does its 3.5 times multiplication if you already have the Pokemon in your dex.
Make it stop!
The timer ball works better the more turns there have been in the battle. After 10 turns, it reaches its max power at 4 times. So they're perfect to stock up on when battling hard-to-catch legendaries. There's also this mysterious yellow Pokeball owned by Glacia that we never see anywhere else. The card game gives us a look at some of Team Magma and Aqua's custom Pokeballs, and Team Rocket's Pokeballs have a new look too. But Team Rocket in the anime got a bit more creative though. Special operatives Annie and Oakley have special Pokeballs in unique colors featuring their Kissy Lips logo. There's a giant clay doll who resides in a giant stone Pokeball, and another ancient relic is this strange Pokeball that actually holds the soul of a human, an ancient king. And manga-wise, we finally get a break, unless you count Giovanni's custom Deoxys Pokeball with DNA on it. But that's just the Kanto starter balls again, really, with different words. Generation 4 then gave us the last big batch of all new Pokeballs, and features some of the most utilized Pokeballs outside of the original games. And the Dusk Ball is not one of them. It just multiplies the catch rate by 3 if it's nighttime or you're in a cave. But the Quick Ball! Round of applause, everyone, for the Quick Ball! It multiplies the catch rate by 5. Sure, it's only effective on the first turn, but often, that's all you need. So wait, you're saying I don't need to play the game anymore? I can just huck these and flee or reload if it doesn't work? I'll take 1,000! Truly, is any Pokeball as used and craved for and cherished as the Quick Ball? Perhaps not. But the Cherish Ball is iconic. While you never get them to catch other Pokemon with, most event-based Pokemon come in these now. Their striking color and design really makes them pop, and design-wise, I do think this is my favorite. Unlike the newer Park Ball, which is just a yellow Pokeball with a red button. But it's just as good as the Master Ball, and that is not a joke. It just only happens to work if you're currently in Pal Park. The Heal Ball is another, mostly useless Pokeball. On top of just being a pink and cream Pokeball, it will fully restore caught Pokemon, which doesn't matter, like, at all, especially if they're just going straight to your box. So like, unless you're doing a Nuzlocke challenge or a no Pokemon Center challenge or something like that, they are pretty needless. Why did they think this was needed or wanted? And same with all the Pokeball customization sparkle effects known as stickers, seals, and capsules. Like, it's cool, but kinda needless. But yeah, in Gen 4, you could customize your Pokeballs a bit with seals. In the anime, they were like clear things you would put your Pokeballs in, which made your Pokeballs look purpley because the clear blue mixed with the red of the ball. But inside of that seal, you could add all kinds of different sparkly effects that when you release your Pokemon and stuff. It sounds nice and plenty fun, but some of the things you can put in them are letters, which of course led to mistakes. Learning from their mistakes, Game Freak removed this feature in the following games, where they also only introduced one new Pokeball. The Dream Ball is even more pink than the Heal Ball, and it goes 4 times as hard if the Pokemon is sleeping. Or at least, that's how it functions now. But originally, it was only used in Entry Forest, where it too had a near-perfect catch rate, multiplying the rate by 255. Yeah, it got nerfed pretty hard. The Gen 5 anime also introduced only one new ball, and it's pretty fishy in all honesty. It looks like a Pokeball with a fish sticker on it. No wonder it's just named the Fishing Pokeball. And even the Gen 5 card game gave us but a single new Pokeball, the Team Plasma Ball. At least there's a lot less text than the Magma and Aqua Balls. When it comes to spin-off games, we also only get one new ball, the Typing Ball, in Learn with Pokemon Typing Adventure. It's an edutainment game that teaches you how to type. It was still on the DS though, so it came with this Bluetooth keyboard for the DS. In-game, these were the Pokeballs you would throw by typing, hence the T design in the ball. Moving on to Gen 6, there's nothing. Not in the games, not in the manga, nor the anime, nor the cards. There is not a single new Pokeball of any kind in Gen 6. Not even the, like, slight variations or slightly customized ones, like that fish sticker. At most, you could say the Team Magma and Aqua Balls got redesigns, but they're still just look slightly different. Nothing! So, moving on to Gen 7 now, there's Beast Balls. Beast Balls were developed with the express purpose of catching Ultra Beasts as opposed to Pokemon, which they barely work with. It was the only Pokeball that worked worse than the regular default Pokeball, cutting the catch rate into 1/10 of what it was originally, unless you were trying to catch an Ultra Beast, at which point it multiplies it by 5. Similarly, Ultra Beasts always reduced the catch rates of the balls you try to catch them with, unless it's a Master Ball or a Beast Ball, which only adds to the confusion of whether they truly are Pokemon or not. But that's not this video. Like the Sport Ball before, the Catch Race Pokeball is only for the Catch Race event in the 21st movie, and with that, we're already moving on to Gen 8, where the Team Rocket balls get yet another redesign. Very cool. And there's also special Dynamax Pokeballs, though this seems to be more a temporary form Pokeballs can take when dealing with Dynamax shenanigans, rather than a whole new ball in and of itself. Competitors in Pokemon Unite use these special Unite balls that you see around all the time, and then Legends Arceus comes out and rewrites the history of Pokeballs. But what's important for us here is the 11 new Pokeballs we got. Granted, most are just variations. You've got the Hisuian Pokeball, which is just a worse, older Pokeball. And I do mean worse. Rather than not multiplying the catch rate at all, it actually reduces the catch rate, multiplying it by 0.75. The Hisuian Great Ball is the same as the regular Great Ball, but is Hisuian, so it looks different, but statistically it's the same as a Great Ball. And then the Hisuian Ultra Ball is, better than the regular Ultra Ball, giving us a multiplication of 2.25. I guess that's where the 0.25 from the Hisuian Pokeball went. The Hisuian Heavy Ball is similar in concept to the regular Heavy Ball, though functions differently, given this game's somewhat more action-focused gameplay. This ball cannot be thrown as far, but works better when the Pokemon being caught hasn't noticed the player yet. It's like a stealth ball. Then there's the Leaden and Gigaton balls, which function the same, but with higher numbers, as they are just upgrades. I hope it means leaden as in it's just heavier, and not that there's literal lead in there, which would be fitting of the time period the game takes place in, but still, lead poisoning is no joke. Even mild exposure gives you boomeritis. On the flip side, there's the Feather Ball, which can be thrown much faster and further than regular balls, and get a bigger bonus when the Pokemon you're catching is flying. The Wing and Jet Balls are just upgrades of it, but then the Origin Ball is a special ball made from parts of the Red Chain. It serves a single purpose: to catch either Origin form Dialga or Palkia after defeating them, and that it does. There is one more kind of strange ball in Legends Arceus, and I'm sure many haven't experienced it. It's the Strange Ball. It's not a ball you can actually get in-game on its own, but rather, if you transfer a Pokemon from home into PLA, the ball it was in appears as a Strange Ball as long as you're in PLA. Likely because of Arceus timeline shenanigans, you shouldn't be sending balls of the future into the past. You start getting my own grandpa paradoxes. Now, we may be done with the games, but the anime hasn't been this active in making new balls since Gen 1, so buckle up. There's a literal box load of them. Firstly, the most iconic new ball of the Pokemon Horizons anime is the Ancient Pokeball, a name they surely haven't used before. And it's not some one-off treasure owned by Roy's grandfather. Multiple Ancient Pokeballs have been found now, but there is more than that. There are these fancily ornate metal Pokeballs, and an even fancier and more ornate variant. These rocket balls with jet propulsion go fast and perfectly straight without arcing down. The Boomerang balls come right back even if you miss your target. Bomb balls explode in a puff of pink smoke, and that's it. They're not very helpful. And Chase Balls are essentially heat-seeking missiles, except they seek Pokemon and drive towards them on little adorable wheels. I particularly like the antenna and how it points at the nearest catchable Pokemon, and I hope that of all of the prototype Pokeballs seen so far, this is the one that sticks around. It probably won't, though. And that, as of recording, is every Pokeball to my knowledge. Let me know if I missed any, particularly if they are more than just a Pokeball with a sticker or some writing on it. Is this a new Pokeball now? No. It's trash. But what about Pokeball Pokemon? How does Magearna fit into this equation? Or Fungus? Or heck, Voltorb? Well, if you've ever wondered that about Pokeball Pokemon, we've already done a video on it, so check that out here, and never stop using your noggin, please.